the small Eastern European nation of Moldova, nestled between Romania and Ukraine, has long been a battleground for geopolitical influence. On October 20th, 2024, Moldova held a historic dual vote, a presidential election and a constitutional referendum on European Union (EU) integration. The runoff election on November 3, 2024, solidified the nation's trajectory toward a pro-Western future, but not without significant challenges and divisions. The re-election of President Maia Sandu, a staunch advocate for EU integration, and the narrow approval of the referendum to enshrine European integration into the Moldovan constitution marked a pivotal moment in the country's history. This decision positioned Moldova at a crossroads, balancing its sovereignty, democratic aspirations, and geopolitical alignment. However, the path forward is fraught with economic, social, and political complexities, as well as the ever-present threat of Russian interference. Moldova's geopolitical context, Moldova's history, is deeply intertwined with the legacies of the Soviet Union and its ongoing struggle for independence and identity. Since gaining independence in 1991, the country has oscillated between pro-Russian and pro-European orientations, reflecting the broader tug-of-war between East and West. The 2024 elections and referendum underscored this tension, as Moldovans were forced to choose between aligning with the EU or maintaining closer ties with Russia. President Maia Sandu, who first took office in December 2020, has been a transformative figure in Moldovan politics. Her election marked a decisive shift away from the pro-Russian policies of her predecessor, Igor Dodon, who was later arrested for his alleged involvement in Russian-backed conspiracies. Sandu's administration has prioritized anti-corruption measures, democratic reforms, and closer ties with the EU, earning her both domestic support and international acclaim. However, her pro-Western stance has also made her a target of Russian hostility, as the Kremlin views Moldova's westward tilt as a threat to its regional influence. The 2024 presidential election was a high-stakes contest between Maia Sandu and Alexander Stoyanoglu, a candidate backed by the pro-Russian Socialist Party. Sandu's campaign focused on her administration's achievements, including efforts to combat corruption, strengthen democratic institutions, and advance Moldova's EU integration. Stoyanoglu, on the other hand, appealed to voters wary of rapid westernization, emphasizing the potential economic and cultural risks of EU membership. Sandu ultimately secured victory with 55% of the vote, a testament to her enduring popularity and the public's appetite for reform. However, the election was marred by allegations of Russian interference, including bribery, disinformation campaigns, and cyber attacks. National Police Chief Viorel Cernotenu revealed that a Russian-managed network had bribed 130,000 Moldovans to vote against EU alignment and support pro-Russian candidates. An estimated $15 million was funneled into these efforts, highlighting the extent of Moscow's attempts to sway the outcome. The EU integration referendum, the constitutional referendum on EU integration, was equally contentious. The proposal to enshrine European integration into Moldova's constitution was seen as a bold step towards solidifying the country's pro-Western trajectory. However, the results were far from decisive, with 50.46% of voters supporting the measure and 49.54% opposing it. This razor-thin margin reflected deep divisions within Moldovan society. Proponents of EU integration argued that it would bring economic opportunities, strengthen democratic institutions, and enhance Moldova's global standing. They pointed to the success of other Eastern European countries, such as Poland and Estonia, that have thrived as EU members. Opponents, however, expressed concerns about the potential loss of sovereignty, cultural identity, and economic stability. Many feared that EU membership would exacerbate existing inequalities, particularly in rural areas where poverty and unemployment are rampant. Economic challenges and social polarization. Moldova's economic struggles have long been a source of frustration for its citizens. As one of Europe's poorest countries, Moldova faces high unemployment, low wages, and limited economic opportunities. These challenges have fueled skepticism about the benefits of EU integration, particularly among those who feel left behind by globalization and modernization. The potential economic transition to EU membership is a double-edged sword. While it could attract foreign investment, improve infrastructure, and create jobs, it could also disrupt traditional industries and exacerbate income inequality. Rural communities, in particular, are wary of the changes that EU integration might bring, fearing that they will be further marginalized in the process. Is another significant challenge. The referendum results revealed a stark divide between urban and rural areas, with urban centers largely supporting EU integration and rural areas opposing it. This divide reflects broader tensions over national identity, sovereignty, and the legacy of Soviet rule. For many Moldovans, the question of EU membership is not just a political or economic issue, but a deeply personal one that touches on their sense of self and belonging. Russian interference and hybrid threats. Russia's attempts to influence Moldova's elections and referendum are part of a broader strategy to maintain its sphere of influence in Eastern Europe. The Kremlin has long viewed Moldova as a buffer zone between NATO and Russia, and its efforts to undermine Moldova's pro-Western government are driven by both strategic and ideological motives. Moldovan Foreign Minister Mihai Popșoi has warned of the significant negative effect of Russia's aggressive policies, which includes cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and attempts to disrupt public order. These hybrid threats are designed to sow discord, erode trust in democratic institutions, and weaken Moldova's resolve to pursue EU integration. The 2024 elections and referendum were no exception. In addition to bribery and disinformation, Russia sought to delegitimize the results by alleging voting irregularities and limited polling stations. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov claimed that Moldovans in Russia were barred from voting, while those in Europe were able to support the pro-West agenda. These allegations, though unsubstantiated, fueled protests and further polarized Moldovan society. Safeguarding democracy and sovereignty to counter Russian interference and protect its democracy, Moldova must adopt a multifaceted approach, strengthening cybersecurity, enforcing strict regulations on foreign funding, and promoting media literacy are essential steps. The government should also encourage independent media outlets to provide unbiased information and hold those in power accountable. Foreign interference laws, such as requiring public disclosure of foreign donations to political parties or NGOs, could help mitigate the impact of external influence. However, these measures must be carefully designed to avoid undermining democratic freedoms, as seen in countries like Georgia, where similar laws have been used to suppress dissent. Transparency and accountability are key to building public trust. The Moldovan government should ensure that electoral processes are free, fair, and accessible to all citizens, both at home and abroad. independent oversight bodies can play a crucial role in monitoring elections and addressing allegations of fraud or interference. The road ahead. Moldova's decision to pursue EU integration marks a significant milestone in its journey toward democracy and sovereignty. However, the challenges ahead are immense. The country must navigate a complex economic transition, address social polarization, and defend itself against ongoing Russian interference. The success of Moldova's pro-Western trajectory will depend on the government's ability to deliver tangible benefits to its citizens, particularly those in rural and marginalized communities. Economic reforms, infrastructure development, and social programs will be critical to winning over skeptics and ensuring that EU integration is inclusive and equitable. At the same time, Moldova must remain vigilant against external threats. Strengthening democratic institutions, promoting transparency, and fostering a culture of civic engagement are essential to safeguarding the country's sovereignty and independence. Conclusion: the 2024 elections and referendum were a defining moment for Moldova, reflecting the nation's aspirations for democracy, sovereignty, and European integration. President Maia Sandu's re-election and the narrow approval of the EU integration proposal signal a clear shift toward the West. But the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Moldova's journey is emblematic of the broader struggles faced by post-Soviet states as they navigate the complexities of independence, identity, and geopolitical alignment. The choices made by Moldovans in 2024 will shape the country's future for generations to come, determining whether it can overcome its divisions and realize its potential as a democratic, prosperous, and sovereign nation. As Moldova continues its battle for sovereignty and democracy, the international community must stand in solidarity with its people, offering support and guidance as they navigate the challenges of EU integration and resist the pressures of external interference. The story of Moldova is far from over, and its success or failure will have profound implications for the future of Eastern Europe and the global order.